Everybody, and I just wanted to release a video about the new A6Editor update I just released. It's live on the website right now. You can download it in Universal or Windows. If there's any issues with it, such as the VST not showing up in your DAW, or if OS X has an issue with the security on it, just drop me a line. I'll re-release it and update it again. But before I start going into the new features, I wanted to first kind of explain a little bit more about the tagging requests that I sent out to everyone that'll help make the patch generator a little bit better. First of all, basically what it is that right now we have a generator section, and right now the base section is the only one that really works. I was able to get that working somewhat. But I want to be able to get all of these other sections working. But to do that, I will need your help. And I'll explain in a moment. But basically what I want to do is use this new button to create a tag hash file. And basically, before we do that, what we need to do is go down the bottom bar and hit the expand button, and you'll see all the different programs that you have. And then here you have all the different tags that are available, so you can tag your different programs in your bank. So right now, if I click on bass, it'll kind of like show these different bass presets or patches or programs, however you want to call it. Let me go down to the user bank, and I see all the different programs here that have the bass tag on it. We've got a couple with lead and pad, and you can see how that works here. You've seen this in other apps. It's not anything new. But what we really need you to do is go through your programs and then turn on the edit tags mode, and then find a different program that you have that doesn't have a tag, and kind of say, okay, well, this is for example, let's just say it's an atmosphere one. And this one, oh, it's already tagged as a bell. This one's an attack. We'll say that that's like a pluck or something. So let me see here. Where is the pluck? Right here. Okay. So we have these tags here that we can tag all of your programs in. I use the term programs or patches interchangeably. Technically it's programs on the A6, but a lot of people call it patches, so I apologize if I mess up the naming on that. But what we need you to do is to go through and tag as many of these programs as you can. And typically the idea is that we have there's not that many programs or banks that are out there. We've all kind of used some of the same ones. So take those same banks that you're usually used to doing, like the preset banks, the default banks, any of the old ones that have been on the message boards, or Walmart, for example, and tag those all up a bunch, because this is what I want to do. Once you tag up all the programs that you want to tag up, go to the generation tab here and click the create tag hash file. When you click that, it will create a small file that I'd like you to email me. When you click the button, it'll actually bring up the instructions and the email address. But why do I need that, and what does that have to do with the different generation of patch types up here? So in a nutshell, I'll kind of explain it this way. Imagine you're trying to create a patch generator that's going to randomize a bunch of parameters to kind of get into new sounds. So technically that's like a very, the math behind it's very multi-dimensional, but to show it easily, we can kind of just show it in 2 dimensions here, just conceptually to make it easier. So imagine you've got like values from 0 to 100, or in this way, and this way. You basically got all the different types of values that could exist with the A6, and all the hundreds of different parameters, all the different random combinations, if you could visualize that existing within this space. But just because a random combination is possible doesn't mean it's useful. So for example, if you've got a filter that is like got like a 5-second delay for the amp, or even I think it goes up to 2 minutes delay when you press a key until a sound comes out, that's not very useful. Or if there's a lot of envelope settings where if you combine them a certain way, it's just not going to make a sound that's going to come out. So it's not, even though you can make a random combination of parameters, they're not always useful. So imagine within this giant set, you've got a smaller subset that is useful. And these are ones that you can use and create some sort of playable sound from. But it could be any type of playable sound. So imagine again a subset within there, you've got these different categories of different types of sounds. And some of them might overlap. Some of the parameters of one might overlap the parameters of another kind of category. But right now, I know what the gray circle looks like, but I don't have enough tagged programs to kind of narrow down and understand what these circles are. What are the parameters that like all type of pluck sounds have? What are the parameters that all good string sounds typically have, or range of values? I don't have that narrowed down yet. So by sending me this hash tag file and sending me what your tagged info is, that will help me narrow down and get a better understanding of these areas. And once I have this area, it's a lot easier to program a patch generation tool that will limit it to just this type of sound. So we can have a tool that just says, I want to have a random pluck sound. I want to have a random pad sound. I want to have a random, whatever category we create. So that's why I'm asking you to send me your tagged data. Now, on the side, I'm actually an IP attorney, so I'm cognizant of a lot of issues regarding patents and copyright. So part of the issue is that I know I can't ask you to send me your actual patch files. There are copyright issues with that. For example, you've got patch files that are sold commercially. I know Don Solaris, for example, sells an A6 Banks selection that you can buy from him. And so if you were to just send me that as a copy with your tag data, that's not going to fly. That's going to violate his copyright. So instead of sending me your programs and patches, I created this file system to kind of get around that issue. So right now, if you can imagine, a patch file is just a string of bits and bytes that goes, from left to right. And all of those, I think it's like 2048 kilobytes, represent all the different parameter settings within the Andromeda. If you lay those out end to end, something you can do is actually turn that into a hash value. And if you don't know what hash values are, basically it's a one-way key. If you change, you throw in a long string of numbers and you get one number out. And if you change anything in the numbers going in, so you change even one parameter, it's going to entirely change the output hash value. So what this turns into, it's kind of like a fingerprint for that patch. And what's great is if I get the hash value, you send me the hash value, I can't decode what the parameter is. I can't put it in reverse. That's why they call it a one-way key. So the program, the editor currently, when you ask for it to create this hash tag file, it takes the program that you tagged and it creates a hash. And what it does is that it basically takes that hash number and it says, well, this hash number has these tags associated with it. And this is basically what the file is that I'm asking you to send me. I'm not asking you to send me your actual programs. I'm asking you to send me this hash key with whatever tags you send to it. And because we don't have a ton of programs and patches out there in the wild, I've downloaded and bought pretty much every single one I can get my hands on. So when I, on my end, hash all of my patches and I get one that has this key, I know, oh, this person gave it these tags. And this is a way that I can kind of receive all this tag data, even though I'm not getting someone's copyrighted programs or banks or patches, and still be able to assign different tags to them. And this is actually going to be in reverse too. So in the future, based on what everyone says, if you upload or import a Don Solaris bank, for example, we could use this data to basically, and the hashes, to automatically assign tags to those banks, even though those tags don't come with the data. The editor can have basically a database of well-known programs and associated tags. So that way we can also have automated tagging in the editor in the future. So it's a long way of saying, I'm not asking for your personal data. Now, if you've got a bank or programs that you've yourself created and you think they're awesome, you want to share them with me and tag them up, please, that's fine. I'm just putting this hash system in place so we don't run afoul of anyone's copyrighted work. So please just, when you click on that button, it'll create the file. It'll open it up in your Windows Explorer or OS X Finder. And you just attach that file to an email, and the email address will pop on the screen on the editor, and I'll have it on the Facebook group too. Just send me that file in an email. That's all you have to do. And then if enough people send it to me, then it'll be easier to create that base generation, or I'm sorry, the patch generation section for the next update. So, okay, thanks for sticking with me for that, but I wanted to kind of explain that in a little more detail because I know it can be kind of weird if I'm saying, hey guys, I need you to send me a bunch of files with your data on it. You can open up the file, you can see what you're sending to me. That's what it is. It's just a hash file with a bunch of tags set on it. Okay, so looking here, beyond that, what else is new in this one? Well, as I mentioned, I bought an Alesis wedge, and I went through and I got all the preset data from that and converted it into the Andromeda format. So now we've got these couple hundred user presets that will get you quickly to a new setting on the effects here. So I think that's pretty cool. It allows you to kind of get going very quickly. And this is what is great for the digital effects section. Now, the one thing though is that this wedge preset, they didn't have distortion on the wedge. So these presets don't change anything about distortion. But if you have a digital effect that is really cool and you want to include some distortion settings on it, you could use this new button here. This is a user preset button. And this, you can actually save a new preset on there, or you can create or take a user preset that's been previously saved and load it in. And now for this one, it'll change both the digital effects and the analog distortion effects at once. So that's a way you could have a total effect user preset handling. So that's the user preset button here. And what you'll see is you will go to other sections. At the right side of the banners are now these gray buttons. Anywhere you see a gray button is a user preset for that section. So this is one for envelope 1. I've got a couple different envelopes here you could try out. Let me put this one here, short pluck, load. All right. And you can go to any single one and kind of add that in there. And then you could save your own, obviously. So I've got one for envelopes. There's one for the different filter section. This one is filter 2 that actually works for filter 1 and 2. I've got to fix that, but it should save both filter 1 and 2 settings. LFOs, you could say the wave type, and that should work by LFO in sample and hold type. Sample holds out here. And then performance, we got one for arpeggiator settings, portamento, and pitch wheel settings. So anywhere you see one of these buttons, you can kind of set your own presets, and I put a couple presets in there to start out with for everyone just to kind of get used to it. So that's a big new feature that I think will help. One other thing too is if you right click on any knob, you can now set a custom minimum, maximum, and response curve for that. So right now it's on 186. I'm going to say use that as the current. And when you adjust this away from the default, the knob will turn red to kind of indicate that this is a custom knob here. So I'm going to change this and kind of move this up here. Now set that as current. And now it will go from like 500 to 186. And I could even change the curve on it. So it will have more of a curve. And then you can clear it here, or you can go down to the bottom. There's multiple knobs across the program and just clear them all out that way. One other thing too, we have mix settings, and unfortunately, as I talked about in my developer's log note, because of the lack of some remote MIDI access settings, I can't access everything on the mix settings. So right now, if you open it up the mix settings, when you're in mix mode, it'll lay out all the different programs. If it's at user 0 or 000, that usually means that there wasn't anything assigned to it. That's the way it is in the Andromeda for any channels that don't have an assigned program to it. It just defaults to 000. For this one, you can set the key zones, the MIDI channel, the outputs, and use keys. The enable is kind of touchy. I'm still working on this. It will work if you have the channel selected, but you have to manually kind of do that and hit shift down here. I'll take you to the other 8 channels. Then you can close that. So that's what mix can do, but again, it's a bit limited compared to what you could do on the Andromeda itself. It just cannot do it remotely, unfortunately, unless there's a few more things opened up in the future. Other improvements are small, but we have in the program settings, we have the square width medium setting option. You can put it at 52 to get the more perfect, square wave, or you can keep it normal at 50%, and you can select that here. And on the A6 setting, we now have the oscillator and filter engine settings are available, so you can change those now too. Otherwise, everything is pretty much the same. We got a couple more things coming out in the last one, but I really wanted to focus on this tagging system because I really want to make sure, for example, let's see, SH5 bass. It's pretty easy. Just go to edit tags. There you go. That one's already got bass on it. Yeah, just go through and start adding some tags and stuff. You could add multiple tags. Doesn't have to be everything. Obviously, I'm just doing it here just to show you how it works, but obviously go through and listen to it. And I want to see what everyone's opinions are on what different sounds are and what the tags are. So I appreciate your time doing this. There's a pad. But yeah, once you get all this done, you can turn this off. Go to generation and click the create tag hash file. Yeah, see, and then it will give you a file name. It's only about mine. This one's like 25 kilobytes. It'll give you a readout, and it'll tell you the email address to send it to and where the file's located. So yeah, I look forward to seeing everyone's tags. And like I said, any help is appreciated. Even if it's only like a dozen tags, that's fine. You don't have to tag every single program. Just do what you can, and it's appreciated. It will all help out and make the editor and the patch generation better. And I think that's a feature everyone's going to really dig once it's all said and done. So feel free to reach out, any questions or anything else. Next update, if we get enough of this tag info, I'm hoping the next update would be pretty much the last one, just to work out the last couple kinks and get these last couple sections like tracking and sequencer done. But otherwise, I appreciate everyone's time and checking this out and helping make this better. All right, thanks. Bye.